fruit juice in there. Boom! There we go. We're on. We're live. How we doing?
Oh, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. How are you? It's Tuesday night.
It is. We're coming at you live on After the Cook. How we doing? Full of piss and vinegar today, let me tell you. Going to be a fun show.
Yes,
Got my man right here, Chris, Titletown Griller. Da-da-da-da.
We got at Dark Side of the Grill, Mel Schmiller.
Schmiller. Here you go. Second try. That's not bad.
Mel
That's
Schmiller
not bad.
Jr.
Boom. There we go. I can see Shane in the back room there. Fantastic. There we go. There we go.
All things stick burner and especially your build. I'm excited for tonight. I really want to kind of pick your brain on your thought process behind that beast.
Yeah, man. That's hold on.
Oh.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, so yes, today is stick burner day. That's why we got our guest is going to be Shane from SG Metalworks down in Cali. I cannot wait to bring him up. We got all kinds of stuff to talk about. So for those of you following along, if you haven't seen it yet on my Instagram or my YouTube, Mel built a stick burner. I did so. It's a beautiful rig. I'm very proud of it.
Oh, and first of all, you didn't just build a stick burner. Okay, it's not just a stick burner. It's a Mel-sized stick burner, ladies and gentlemen. So we're not talking about, I got a 100-gallon, 200-gallon tank. No. That's not what's going on here. So don't sell yourself short.
Okay, fair enough. So here's the deal. I saw Big Mo's, who built his? Centex, I think. Centex Smokers out of Texas.
Okay.
Beautiful. 1,000-gallon. Just massive. He's got it on a huge trailer. The thing is absolutely beautiful. And I'm like, I will never see something like that until I go down to Texas. We got nothing like that up here. It was amazing. And I was like, I need to figure something out. I need to get a Moberg. I got to do something to get a smoker of that magnitude. And right away, the wife was like, she saw the picture of it and I would been swooning it, right? And right away, wives doing wife stuff. She's like, where are you going to put it? In the garage, hon. That's where I'm going to put it. She's like, that won't fit in the garage. There's no way. The voice of reason come like a stick or a pool cue behind the, just whack. So I was a bit defeated for like 7 minutes. And then I decided to grab a beer out of the fridge, run out to the garage and measure exactly how big the garage was. 10 minutes later, I had a design figured out for two 500-gallon tanks, a cut and a seam, weld them together to come up with Mel's custom 750. It's not 750, it's a 750. And it's beautiful, man. It's absolutely beautiful. So yeah, So does it
fit in the garage?
It does. Okay. With like 2 inches to spare. And if I'm in a mood backing it in, I'll watch my toolbox move an inch in the rearview mirror and then I know I'm there. So it's quite tight. But she's locked down. She's home. Very happy.
Yes, I remember, I think it was late summer, early fall when you sent me the pictures of the tanks.
Yeah.
As this was like in its infancy, you're like, hey, look at these. I'm like, those are big. And there's 2 of them. You're like, yeah, they're both for me.
Yeah. Whoa. Well, originally I wanted to put them double barrel on a trailer.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's a guy out in Ontario, I'm trying to think of his name, Mike's Barbecue or Mike's Brisket, something like that. And he's got a double barrel. I don't know who built his, but I think he brought it up out of Alberta maybe. And right away, I was like, damn it, those are a lot easier to find than I thought they would be, double barrel smokers, right? And then that was right when Big Mo rolled his out. And as soon as I saw that, I was like starstruck right away. I need something bigger than a double barrel. I need something just silly. And it is, man. It's crazy. Like I sent you that picture of me standing next to it, right? Like it's big. You kind of forget, you lose how big it is. But like the firebox, it's double insulated and it's deep. It's deep. You can throw 4 bags of charcoal in there if you wanted to and just fire them up and it would fit like easily. Still have room to spare. Like it's a huge firebox. and then like room for briskets till the cows come home.
We're definitely going to get into the fabrication of it, how you did it, and then I want to get into some like the learning curve of how you're learning to cook on it, what you're learning to do with it, kind of where the sweet spots are, the hot spots, the cold spots, and all of that stuff. But I think we have to start at the beginning, kind of like what you just said. You kind of drew up the plans. For those of you that don't know what the hell you've been doing, but Mel is a journeyman welder, so he's able to fabricate all this stuff on his own. Which, I unfortunately do not know anything about welding or am able to do anything like that. But when he would like text me an update after a day of work of how much he's welded in a day, I was just like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. So
yeah, I get committed, man. I'm like a bull in the china shop. When I get going, it's
you just go for it.
Just give her. And that's the thing. When you're staying late at work,
right,
and you're not getting paid, you learn to hustle real quick, right? Like I totally get it. I like from one guy to the next, there's times when you can dog it, right? There's times when you can sandbag it. When it's on your own clock, you don't mess around. You go like nonstop. And that was my, because I wanted to get home to the kids. I wanted to eat dinner. But I was out there till 10, 11 o'clock at night every single night. And I'm just bagged. And then we're still doing this thing and I'm not talking about it. Plus I got all my Instagram stuff that I'm still doing. It was just for like a month there. It was crazy. It was nuts, but I'm glad it's done and I'm super proud it's done. So
yeah, everything you're able to knock out is pretty impressive. So walk us through your planning process. So you have the two 500-gallon tanks,
yep.
And early on you were deciding, okay, do I do the double barrel so I can do two different temps or whatnot, or do I just go all out and do this big one? And I know, like you mentioned, somebody else already had the double barrel, so you wanted to try something different. Is that kind of what led you to the bigger is better?
Yeah, that and like I'm pretty good at envisioning things and how they work, and seeing that double barrel wouldn't have the same presentation as this thing does.
Mm-hmm.
It would still be pretty gnarly. Don't get me wrong. It would be pretty gnarly, but this thing with the length, the way it fills that trailer up, and it's a big, they call it a big V car hauler trailer. They're super popular in the 60s and the 70s.
Okay.
It has like a curve with a great big V for the hitch. And that curve follows the end of the tank up until the elbow. So when you're standing there, it's literally like a custom designed, it just all pieced together so gnarly. I wish I could have left its rusty kind of colors and then done baby moons and done a rat rod. But my reasoning behind going black anyway and doing that is just, one, because of the Hummer. I wanted it to match the Hummer as best I could. And two, if you were hiring for an event, there's a lot of wives at weddings that would not be too into the rat rod.
Oh, right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, having that kind of the natural patina kind of rust looking color, even though it's perfectly fine, it's safe, it's, and there's definitely an appreciation to be had for that. There is something about your murdered out, beautiful black paint job on that. That's pretty darn sharp.
Yep. Oh, geez. What's going on here? Boom. There we go. Kev. Got Cowboy Kev in the house. We got Josh.
Yeah, there's a lot of people in here tonight taking interest in talking about your beautiful stick burner, that Black Beast.
Well, I can't wait to bring our guest up too. This is gonna be great, man.
Yeah, we got a lot to talk about. So it's a lot of different live fire cooking styles than what we've talked about in the past. So hopefully we'll get some good discussion going.
Yeah, for sure.
So you got the idea, full, big, long, smoker.
Yeah.
What was your next step in deciding how it was going to function? With the, could be a reverse flow. You could go to your traditional style stick burner.
I outweighed everything. So I hit up quite a few people, right? That have stick burners, they're using stick burners all the time. And I went through heat plates. I went through the reverse flow. So my big one on my deck, it's a 125 gallon propane tank. It weighs 1,400, almost 1,500 pounds, and it's a reverse flow. And its baffle also doubles as a water pan. So it is actually a deadly unit, and that thing is super efficient on wood. Even though it's not an insulated firebox, it's still it really good for what its purpose is. I wanted to do something traditional. I wanted to go back to the basics of the first propane tank pits and what they were turning out. I don't watch a lot of TV, right? So lots of the advice I had was you should look back to barbecue pit masters. You should look back to take in stuff that I had not seen before. Obviously, YouTube was another big contender for just information, me collecting stuff. But at the end of the day, I just wanted something traditional. Stick goes in one end, smoke goes out the other, meat goes in the middle. It's go time. And the first time I ran it, I'm not going to lie to you, sitting for 12 hours on a lawn chair next to the firebox, I had just a barrel of beer cans, right? I had a nice bourbon in my hand. I had smoked a couple of cigars. It was a long day, right? And just sitting there at the end of the day, and everything's just finishing up, and it was like seeing one of those pictures out of a magazine. I felt like I was in it. It moved me. Like it was just, I think it was me and her getting along, getting to know each other, right? And yeah, it's see that? Yeah, that's where we're at. It was perfect. It was absolutely perfect. Just
That's awesome. And you had that connection on a couple of levels, not just cooking on it for the first time, but knowing, like you said, the hours that you put in to design it, build it, and that's just the fabrication aspect of it. It doesn't account for the amount of hours you probably laid awake at night, laying in bed, thinking about, okay, now if I do this, I could do that. Now, just kind of constantly running through the thoughts and planning before you get to that point.
Oh, that every single step of the way was second guess yourself, second guess the information that you're getting, second guess whatever, and then at the very end, it's like just evolve and do it. Doesn't even matter. Just do it. See what happens. Worst case scenario, you cut it apart, start again. And like the counterweights on the doors, to get that weight, like those no joke, those doors are heavy. You need something up there if you're going to be opening and closing. When I put my first counterweight on there, and I went to go, like it didn't even move. And I was thinking, like, how much weight do I actually have to put on the back of this? And then you realize the height of the post, the angle of the post changes considerably how much weight in that cantilever, right? How much weight in that balance. And there's so many things that people don't give these builders credit for that are actually quite ingenious. And it's one of those do it or don't. It's the people that are doing it every day that are able to figure this out and make it look so slick. I just blown every step of the way. I had a new appreciation for the builders of these pits, man. It was amazing. And like, I totally get why they cost what they cost. You can think as much as you want, this is a scrap tank or blah, blah, blah. No way, man. It's the hours involved, the thinking involved, the science, the math. It's no joke.
Right. So it's not just, the science, the math of your, counterbalance weights for the doors, but then you got to think of the smokestack. And, the height of the smokestack to pull that heat out and get it where you want to go. Your insulation, there's so much that goes into it other than just, hey, I'm going to weld, do a couple of welds here, cut a hole so I can open it, and away we go. There's so much more that goes into it than just that, little bit.
Yeah. Oh, 100%, man. I was blown away. And it was a lot of fun. A lot of work, but a lot of fun. So,
yeah. So you had your design. You started fabricating it. You cut them. Did you just cut the ends off of the two 500-gallon tanks, or you cut off a little bit more in between there?
I don't want to give too much away,
Okay.
but I for sure cut the tanks in half, cut the end off of one, seamed them together. A word of wise wisdom for anybody out there: if you're planning on mating two tanks together, it's almost impossible. No two tanks came from the same factory. No two tanks were made in the same year. No two tanks are made. You might end up with two different thicknesses. Let me tell you, just the diameter alone, it's insane. It's insane how different two tanks can be, and I'll just leave it at that. Yeah, it was an absolute nightmare to get that anywhere near.
Were your two the same thickness at least?
Yes, I lucked out big time there. Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah, well, you never know, right? You never know until you cut into it.
So was that
was another thing. I've had like 40 people message me already for information on how I prep the tanks and how I whatever, right? It's do a prayer. Do a prayer and ball up, man. That's it. You want to know how I did it? The dude that was recording me cut into the tank ran out into the parking lot, and then he's like, "Okay, go." Yeah, that was it. Do one of those, right? And then yeah, it's not for the faint of heart, man. Even after you steam clean it, even after you whatever, you put a gas sniffer on there, liquid propane. But you know me. You know me. It's just another bump in the road with this thing, man. You know, it's
So is that the toughest part, you think, of the process? You know, other than the planning, getting everything together, I should say the toughest part of the fabrication was that, you know, getting the two tanks into one.
No, the doors. The doors are a nightmare. The fit up for everything is a nightmare. After everything is said and done and the thing's built, it's welded, it's sitting there. You light that thing, you don't know if it's going to work. Yeah. You've got a suspicion it's going to work. You got all the hope in the world it's going to work. But there's still other factors that can make it suck. So
so yours has
it's great.
4 doors?
It's
4 doors on it?
Mine is 3 sections.
Okay.
3 sections, yeah.
Each section has 2 shelves?
Yep.
Do they pull out at all?
So the bottom deck is just straight across from one seam to the end seam. It's solid deck.
Okay.
And then the top one is the same size as the doors, so they slide out.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So my neat way of testing it, just as a quick sporadic whatever, I did chicken thighs and I threw them in every corner, every inch of it, and then tested how quickly they cooked, how they crisped up, how they were smoking, the texture, what I had, and that was a good baseline for what was happening. Mm-hmm. But then you get into the back end of this, which is only another small part of the whole science of the stick burner, is your fire and your flame management. Right? You need a small hot fire. That's it. You got a big hot fire, everything's burnt. You got more coals than log. Now you've got no exchange and it's cooling down, right? Or you get too much smoke, you get too much. Everything is. It's nuts. It's actually nuts how much science goes into this to get it just right. Mm-hmm. So once you nail your fire, once you have a hot small fire, that's like the engine running, right? Now you have your performance. I got a video showing me putting whole logs on. As soon as they hit the fire, they catch fire. You watch the smokestack and it's clean. It doesn't even cough. And that's the science you need to figure out. And once that's happening, everything inside is doing exactly what it's supposed to do.
Well, and that's what makes every smoker, pit different. It's the type of cooking you have to do, because you see some of these guys that do their traditional barbecue where they want to have just hot coals. Yeah. They have their fire in a different container until it burns down to the coals, and they're just putting the coals into their pits. Yeah. Some people are, it's just all about how you have to learn how to cook your vessel or your pit and really master that. So that's what you really have to do to get acquainted with it, kind of like what you talked about, spending that day just doing nothing but tossing the logs on it and kind of getting used to that fire, which is pretty cool.
Yep. Yeah, and it was a blast. It was a real blast. And I think we've got 3 cooks in on it now. 3 big solid ones. Got 4 briskets, a bunch of pork butts, tons of chicken, sausages, right? Just hammering it. Cleaning out the freezers. We're overflowing with vacuum sealed barbecue now.
Oh, right.
So yeah, just nonstop prepping for this event, right? So
yeah, that's going to be a deadly event. You know, for those of you that don't know, on April 17th, Mel has an event coming up at a local brewery. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about it?
It's a bar. So the Canadian Brew House, they're right across Canada. A big establishment. I will be bringing my stick burner on site, and I will be smoking. We've got brisket, we've got pork butts, we've got quarter chickens, we've got sausage, we've got brisket mac, coleslaw, pickles and onions, the whole 9 yards. We're doing a beautiful tray. I think we're 70% sold out now, so it's flying.
So no way.
Flying.
Yeah,
and so I went. Well, yeah, it's going to be huge, man. It's going to be. I really hope if we sell out, if everything goes according to plan, there'll be more in the works, which would be massive. It would be absolutely massive. Having a great time with it. We went down, me and a couple of boys. They had 40-ounce steak night there on Saturday, and I went to promote this event and flip some tickets, whatever. It's awesome. The feedback, the buzz was just perfect. And that's the thing. Had I not done this and someone else did, I'd be buying tickets because it's something I would want to be part of for sure. So I'm happy to be in the position I'm in.
And this is one of those things that, not necessarily this event itself, but this idea, I think, kind of led you to this idea of making your smoker is that, what's Canadian barbecue?
Yeah.
Is there such thing as Canadian barbecue right now? I mean, is that a thing? Because we know, in the U.S., it's not really U.S. barbecue. We have it broken down to Texas barbecue, Kansas City barbecue, North Carolina, South Carolina. All these different areas of the U.S. have their own barbecue. But is there such thing as Canadian barbecue? Is there difference in Ontario and Alberta barbecue, or is that really even a thing yet?
Well, I know that a lot of the trophies in Canada live in Saskatchewan. So if Rob's watching, or if Rob tunes in later, he's got a whole room full of trophies. So there is for sure Canadian barbecue, and there's people bringing home the hardware for sure. Uh-huh. It's definitely something I'm just warming up into now, and I'm loving it. I've been to all the Porkapaloozas, right? I try and hit up lots of barbecue events. It's an awesome culture, and it's definitely just starting to carve its way outside of Canada. So, sure. Yeah, I think for me anyway, this is going to help me bust into that scene a little bit better, right? I'm pumped. So I got something neat that's going on the trailer here in the next couple days that a lot of people didn't expect coming. So I guess we could slip that out there right now.
Sure.
My order from Big Green Egg finally came in.
So where's that going to be sitting?
On the trailer in front of the wood box. So that we can do live fire as well as smoking.
Oh, cool. So you'll have a nice little mini Mac sitting there?
An XL.
Beautiful.
Because that's how Mel does it, right? That's how Mel does it. And you know what? I'm an egghead at heart. Of course, I got to have one somewhere. Right. And I'm pumped. I'm so pumped.
How big will travel? It's kind of like the Beauty and the Beast right there.
Yeah, I think it'll work out really good too, right? Because it's, burgers.
Right.
So even if I'm doing a whole big barbecue event, I can feed, the crew off our end. Just like that. Bang, bang. Or if I need something smoked totally different, or if I need to bring something up the temp right away, it's right there. Like it's right there. So,
or if you need to sear something, you can quick sear it. And
Yep. Yeah. So I'm pumped. I'm pumped to get that done.
Yeah. A lot of different possibilities that can kind of bring you to. That's awesome.
Yep. Heck yeah. Jer, Right now I'm drinking White Claw, but I also have been little tasty poo of this, the Screwball. Let me tell you, that's fantastic. Have you tried it yet?
No.
Peanut butter whiskey.
Yeah, I know what it is.
I love peanut butter.
I do too. I'll just swing by and just grab a big scoop of it.
I love whiskey. Just makes sense.
Yeah, I love tacos and I love ice cream, and you don't see me combining the two.
You might be onto something. You never know. They deep fried it. Now it's pretty fantastic.
Oh.
That's true, Kimmy. They did name a whiskey after me.
But but I will say, everyone that I've heard that has tried the Screwball,
yep,
has really liked it.
Oh, I think it's fantastic. I think it's absolutely fantastic. So, what do you say? You want to bring Shane in? He's been waiting very patiently down there.
I say we bring him in too.
Shane, you ready to go? Boom. Boom. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, there's Shane from SG Metalworks.
What's up, guys? Hold on 1 second.
Yep.
I had the fans going. It's pretty loud.
Yeah,
how's it going?
Fantastic, brother. How you doing?
Good, man. It's a long day.
I bet.
Yeah. A lot of running around today for me, trying to get tanks, clean tanks, all that good stuff, you know?
Yeah, no, I hear you.
You can say shit. It's okay.
Oh, shit.
yeah, that's it. No,
cheers.
There you go. Oh, yeah, that's a good one. Cheers, buddy.
So welcome. Shane is from SG Metalworks, which is down in California. We were talking stick burners today. I know, Shane, that you've given Mel a good insight to his build, his little adventure that he's on. Why don't you give us a little insight as to what you do, or tell us a little bit about SG Metalworks.
Well, SG Metalworks started off in my my garage about 5 years ago. I've been welding and fabricating for over 15 years. And the way I got into smokers, my buddy one day was like, "Hey man, I really don't know how to weld, but let's build a Santa Maria." So I was like, "Oh yeah, that's Santa Maria, let's do it." Knocked out a Santa Maria. We ended up selling that. Built another Santa Maria, sold that. Built one more, sold it. And he's like, "You know what? I really want to build a offset smoker out of a propane tank." And I said, "Yeah, I'll help you out. Let's do it." So we ended up building one, and we built another one, and then we actually sold one to Heritage Barbecue. We sold him the 250, and then he outgrew that thing really fast. And then we ended up building him a 500 on the side of my house. So my shop started off in a single car garage, enough to just barely move around and get around the welder. And, I started off doing fence work and stuff for my shop and doing a couple smokers here and there. And we built Heritage's 500, and it just kind of blew up for us. So I was working two jobs, like Mel knows, going home and welding inside the garage till 10, 12 o'clock at night after you just did 8 or 9 hours was killing me. I said, you know what? I'm done. I got more skills than my boss does. I want to start my own thing. So saved up some money, ended up getting my shop, what I have now. This was a year ago, February. And kind of just put out there, I can build smokers. And then next thing you know, it was like a 250 rolled in, a 500 rolled in, and then it just kept rolling in and rolling in. And mind you, this is all during COVID. I did not expect where we're at today. Our shop's full of smokers now. That's what we do, specialize in that. We've worked with different pit masters, different cooks on how to do tuning plates and how to do this and where should the water pan be. I did a lot of research on these things and just studied, certain stack highs and certain where your grate line should be, where everything should be science to where it works great. Mel hit me up and asked me for a few pointers, and I just shot him his way, and kind of led to a friendship now. So,
yeah, it's awesome, man, and I really appreciate that. That's one big thing. I definitely asked quite a few people. I shook some trees, And in the barbecue community, as warm and welcoming as it is,
Yeah,
when you start messing with people's money, and that's the first thing that people are going to take it as,
exactly.
people clam up like that. And all of a sudden, that door shuts pretty quickly. And here I am just standing in my backyard about to blow myself up, but I'm just looking for a bit of advice, right? People are like, I'll forward you to my lawyer.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
thank you. But
yeah.
that's,
I mean, I didn't mind helping you, and but now it's like, man, people are like, I told you what happened the other day. Some guy,
okay.
like, I've never welded before. What should I do? Get some experience, and then, like you said, we have the scars to prove it. We have cuts. I mean, I burns. I have everything to prove what I've
Yeah.
done. And I mean, I've been doing different type of welding for a long time since I was 19 years old, and just working with metal, learning how to move metal, learning how to. I mean, these like you. I was listening to you guys. Cutting these doors is probably the hardest thing. It's one of the hardest things, because what happens with these things, they're rolled. They're rolled pipes, so they're rolling the tension. They're not going to roll them perfectly and weld the seam. They're going to roll them and pull them together and then weld that seam. So metal has a memory. So anything when you go to cut it, it's going to want to go back to where it was. It's under tension. So there's just different tricks and things that I've learned with working with metal that I still struggle with the doors. Everybody does. I mean, the best even do. I've talked to Mobergs about some stuff, and he's like, man, if I ever have something happen as bad as what happened to me in the last one, he goes, I just throw them away. I'm like, well, I don't have 500 gallons tanks laying around here, man. It's not that easy,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's nuts, man. I go back to so I've built quite a few smaller ones, and like you said, you build one, you sell it because it's sitting there. You're not attached to it. Someone offers you something, away it goes, right? So I got this big 125 on my deck, which became part of the yard, and that's the only reason it's still sitting here is because it's gonna be too much of a pain in the ass to get it out.
Yeah.
So it's just there now. But that one, when I cut the door out, I thought I was being clever by cutting it down the seam, because then that would be like perfect for an end joint, right? And then just grind the seam down. As soon as that thing popped out, it went 3 inches buckled in the center. 3 inches, the bottom of the door bowed, and I was like, everything has gone to fuck. Like there is nothing I can do here. So I had 2 come-alongs with 4x4s. I had it welded to the table, and I had Tiger Torch. I had the Rosebud out with the oxyacetylene. The things that I had to go through to get that thing down to a 1/4-inch gap,
Yeah.
Was like insane. But when I was cutting these apart, I was like, there's a huge chance that I'm not going to do that.
Yeah. You never cut on the weld seam. That's where they pulled it together to weld it. I always try to go on the opposite side or put it on the bottom, something like that, and it's not as bad. But there's just tricks, different ways that I'll cut. I cut all my doors with a cutoff wheel. People will think I'm insane, but I'm not putting any heat toward it. And, I can cut them with a cutoff wheel and they'll still spring on me. They'll still want to move. It happens. Well, the 500 I did about 2 weeks ago, the one for Smoke Queen, I think her name was. I cut that one down the seam on the top, always start on the top, and that thing literally sprung probably about 2 inches, enough to fit my whole hand in. Yep. And like I just heated it up, pulled it back out, and was ready to go.
Yeah, well, like I was telling Chris about mating those 2 tanks together. I would say that those tanks were almost 3 inches different.
Yeah.
So now you're talking about getting creative. You want a 3-inch gap on one end, or are you trying to divide that all the way around? But now you have an entire gapped seam.
Yep.
Like you could fit one inside of the other.
When you told me you were doing that, I was like, "You're fucking crazy. I wouldn't do it."
Yeah, it was not fun at all. Like it was.
I wouldn't have done that.
Yeah,
I would have looked for a 750.
Oh,
look for one.
Yeah, well, I Googled it too, trying to find it, and I was like, "There's nothing. Why is there nothing?" Like there's people repurposing the caps, but never welding one back on, right?
Yeah, it's way too hard.
Yeah.
You're nuts.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun with it. I had to, though, to get it to fit in the garage.
Yeah.
I couldn't just leave it as a 500. I had to do something. So I was.
Yeah, you did something a little different, something outside the box. Like, I think you did more work than you had to, but it looks cool. Came out badass.
Yeah. No, that was the thing. I was like, now if I ever sell it, I'll never get my money out of it with the blood, sweat, and tears I put into it. Right?
No, you never do.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. No, it's.
So Shane, most of your smokers, are they similar to Mel's, where it's the traditional stick burner?
Yeah. We mainly just specialize in the offsets.
Right.
I get a couple guys every now and then ask for reverse flows, but I usually talk them out of it because that offset just cooks amazing. That's where you get the best airflow and just because what happens with your reverse flows, a lot of times you'll cook the meat before the smoke even gets to it because that pan gets so hot that it doesn't give a chance to smoke to get to it and actually cook it. So yeah, we do a lot more offsets. You know, we go from 80 gallons all the way up to 1,000 gallons. You know, we build all our trailers in house and all that.
I'm not gonna lie to you. The first brisket I pulled out of that thing had a ring on it that was almost like 3/8 of an inch, and when I saw that, I was just like, "This is what we're expecting from here on out." I guess just the transfer of everything. It just I was like, okay.
Yeah, these tanks they make great cookers, man. I mean, they're thick material, and then they get that spiral effect going through the tank to the cook chamber, and if you give everything set right and everything where it needs to be, it just flows. I mean, I helped you out, Mel. You saw how good that thing was flowing, right?
Yep.
You saw your fire pulling towards the cook chamber.
Oh, just like this, like it literally. Yeah, it's. As soon as I lit it the first time and I peeked in, that was how I was gauging what was happening. Was the drawback, right? I was
the flames were
the flames are pulling 45, like they're going. Yeah. And as soon as you see that, you're like, we're done. This is and this goes way back to like the conversations we had before about those drum smokers and all kinds of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of smokers are choking out your flow. They're trying to keep the smoke inside the drum or whatever it is and circulate it back and forth and back and forth. This is not that. This is wide open, and it's just flowing through at a steady, even pace to the point that you can't even see it out of the stack. But the magic is all happening on the inside. It's crazy. Like it's almost backwards to what a smoker is doing. But it's doing it almost better. Like it's crazy. I love it.
Yeah, you want to get that blue effect, you know, in your smoke coming out the stack. You almost just can't see it, you know.
Yeah.
So we try to always season and burn all our smokers here, just to make sure everything's flowing right. We do everything the same from 80 gallons to 1,000 gallons. They're all the same, just a smaller, different scale. So we know that they're all going to cook right. We have them down to a science to where firebox needs to be this high, stack needs to be here, collector needs to be here, great line needs to be here, and it just works, flows. Yep. You know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah. No, and that Shane, to be honest with you, man, that's why I really appreciated your help with me. You definitely saved me some heartache, right? And I knew talking to you, I knew exactly where you were coming from, what we were, and it was awesome, man. It was
yeah, no problem, man.
Yeah,
no problem.
It was way
now you made me a hotline, so everybody's hitting me up, but no problem.
That's it. Yeah. Start PayPaling that shit. That's
yeah. You know, $5 a minute or something.
Yeah. What's your ticket number? What was that for? Yeah.
Yeah. I get it all the time. I get it no matter what. I mean, it's part of the game. You know, I can't answer them all. I'll try and help out a little bit here and there, you know, because there was a point where I started where I was trying to figure out how the hell do I clean these things, you know, the whole water trick. That water trick's cool and all, but then you have 500 or 1,000 gallons of water you got to get rid of, you know. So there's little tricks that I've learned and different things from talking to other builders that actually did help me. You know, the guys from Harper's kind of gave me a couple pointers. Those are good guys over there too. And just it works, you know, no matter what. The smell of this is probably another big thing, hard thing is the smell. trying to get that smell out, trying to get all the fumes out. You know, I can't just do what you were saying. Just I'm gonna close my eyes and cut. And I got 2 more guys working for me, so I got to make sure we're safe, everything's good. You know, it's just a process.
I'm not gonna lie to you, man. So I did it at work, and we have a massive shop, and they built me a side shop, kind of attached to the big shop.
Yeah.
And the engineers come in on the weekend after I cut into it, and I was welding them together and stuff, right?
Yeah.
And they almost called the fire department. They didn't know I was in the back, and they thought there was a gas leak. And then one of them just happened to walk back there, and he's like, "Are you okay? Is everything?" And they could smell it from the office way out front, and they're like, "What the hell is going on?"
Yep.
Like, it'll only be like this for a couple days. Don't worry about it. But you know, you got to clean that shit out. You gotta. It's nuts.
It's bad, and all really that's in there is a Dixie cup full of additive.
Yeah.
And if you can get that additive out, that's it.
That's like climbing in there and grinding it or sandblasting it, whatever you're doing to get that out of there. Once it's off steel, it's bare steel again. And you're burning, and then you season it, you're good. Like, it's good totally, totally makes sense. So one thing that's kind of neat, one of my neighbors, his dad still lives in the neighborhood, and he was walking down the alley, and he saw me out there smoking, and he went in about this. So his dad had a hunting cabin way out in Ontario in the Great Lakes, and they had a big potbelly stove, and they used to burn maple, because they used to have maple syrup trees in the back, whatever. So they had year-old seasoned maple. And he was telling me how his dad used to cook steaks and roasts inside of this potbelly stove, just on grates with the maple. And how he never had anything taste that good since he was a kid or whatever. And that was his thing. He's like, I think something to do with the iron. He's like, I think it's the iron with the fire, with the wood, all together, something magic happens. And I was like, that crazy old bugger's right, because this is deadly. Like, this is, you know, putting my hand on it, I'm like, she's got ghosts in her here. This is awesome. Like, it's, man.
Yeah, they just make good cookers, man. I mean, they're just, you know, I'm swamped. Like, I'm so thankful for where I'm at and what the shop has become. The next 500 we're doing, I'm in my shop. That's why I'm looking at the tanks. Excuse me. It's actually going to go to Abu Dhabi. So that's pretty big. I'm pretty stoked on that one. I was just spending the day today of this one still had propane in it. So like I have neighbors, so I've had the fire department called on me too. Like they thought I was going to blow up or something. I'm like, no, it's just a little bit of a smell. It's going to go away. But so this one still had propane in it, and what I usually do is I'll hook up the weed burners from like Harbor Freight, and just let that thing run, just burn the rest of the propane. I mean, there's probably like 10% in there. There was enough just for like, you know. So I hooked it up, and I was gonna do that yesterday, and then it had a small leak. So I was like, try to put Teflon, try to do this, try to do that, and it's still leaking. I was like, there's no way I'm gonna open a flame next to a propane tank with a leak. Mm-hmm. So my ass jumped in the truck and loaded it up, and I drove an hour up to the desert and just sat out there and opened the valve and waited. You know, that's what I did this morning. So this morning I drove the desert, let it all out. It was only 30 minutes, and it all came out. Took the valves off, made sure, and then I came back, and then I drove up to Big Bear. Big Bear from here is about another hour and a half. So I drove all the way up to Big Bear, picked up 2 tanks, came back, you know, offloaded them, and then that was my day. It's a lot of driving today while the guys are working in the shop. So,
yeah, man, you've been making some deadly rigs. Hopefully, everyone that's watching this, they're going to check your shit out. Especially the ones in the trailer, right? When you put the walls and everything up. When I saw that, I was like, wow.
Oh, the smokehouse, like the whole smokehouse. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Like when I saw that, I was like, this dude knows exactly what time it is. He's got it figured, man. It's
how can they find you, Shane?
You can go to SG_metal_works or SGmetalworks.com. We're still working on a website. I have old smokers on there, so we're trying to. My wife is in charge of all that, so she's, you know, with the 2-year-old baby and trying to keep up with my shop and me and all that stuff. She's trying to find time to do that stuff, but we're working on it. But yeah, just there. I don't really have a Facebook for the shop, but mainly just Instagram and our website. You can contact us through anyone.
Awesome.
Yeah, one of the things I really like about your smokers too is, you do have a lot of them that have kind of what Mel was talking about of having more of that natural patina look to them. And you obviously have some that were, painted and all that too, but I really like the ones that have just kind of that natural look where, they're somewhat rusted out, but not rusted out, but they have somewhat of that surface rust on it and some of those colors, paint that's chipping off of it. It's pretty cool. It looks like someone, could be sitting next to that smoker for the next 20 years.
Exactly. Yeah, we build these, like you said, you build these smokers to last. All these, like Mel smoker, all these smokers I build are going to outlive us for sure. He be handing them down to your kids or whatever. But the patina is just luck of the draw, really. I tell a customer, like, sometimes they want a white one, a rusted looking one, or a green one. I'm going to tell them it's really whatever I find. If I find you a tank you like and hopefully you like it, if not, we can sand it down and we can paint it also. But like the patina look is like my favorite because it's less work for one. So it's not grinding and all that stuff. But it is like you said, they just look like a work of art and they just come out beautiful. Like I'm into hot rods. Like, me and Mel were talking, I showed him my old truck that I had built, and I'm just into that kind of stuff. So that gives me back to my hot rod roots, like of the old rustic look with the bare metal and all that. And, people love it. It's hot right now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're hot rod, man.
Do you put like a clear coat over it then to?
No, we don't. I mean, I give them that option, but a lot of them like want it to get rusty. They want that look. I always tell them at least keep it oiled, like Pam spray, tallow, any kind of oil, especially your hinges because it is bare metal to bare metal. Just spray a little Pam or a little, cooking oil in there, and wipe your firebox down, and it's gonna last forever. Then they get that cool look to them, like a gold look starts to come in because you're wiping them down with oil and you're doing all that. So,
no, but it's kind of funny. So one of my millwrights that helped me with the axles, he went out with me to pick it up from the paint shop out in Nisku. So it's about half an hour out of town, right? And when we're driving back and it's floating on the back behind the Hummer going down the highway, and we're doing, I don't know, like 110 kilometers. I don't know what that is in miles, but he's looking at it and he's like, man, if this thing broke off the truck, it would like take everybody out on the street. He's like, it would probably be fine, but everything else would just be demolished. I'm like, man, because they're literally tanks. They're
a 500 by itself dry is 900 pounds. You added another 500, so you're definitely close to 1,000 with just your two tanks.
Well, that stack, man, that stack weighs a ton. I had to get real creative with how to flip that thing up, man, because she's like, holy, it's.
I like how you asked me. You're like, how do you guys lift your stacks? I'm like, muscle. Like that's the only way. Really, I mean, you can get creative, do a cantilever setup or something, but we just usually just lift them up. A lot of guys will stand on their smokers and lift them up and do what they got to do.
Yeah. No joke. I found a boat winch with a worm gear.
Nice.
And then I welded up a pole which slides into the trailer.
Yeah.
And I hook it, and then I sit there and jack it up. So now I got a drill with a 3/4 socket, and it just lifts her up. Because I think the pipe weighs 100 and something pounds.
Oh yeah.
Which you would think is fine, except for on that hinge. The first half of that is like multiplied by 4 or something. It's stupid. So,
what wall thickness did you use on that pipe?
I want to say it's 1/4 inch.
Ooh, that's probably why you could have got away with like 10 gauge or like we usually run 0.120 wall. We usually run 0.120 wall.
Okay,
and it still holds heat very well. So our stacks aren't as heavy because it's 0.120 wall. That's what, like a little over 1/8 of an inch.
Well, I'm up in oil field country, man. They're like thin walls. What are you talking? 3/8? I'm like, no, 3/8. No. What do you got? They're like, we have something special. Then they started talking about mechanical tube, and I was like, how much is that a foot? Oh, about $750. I'm like, what the? No, I don't want anything. Right? Seamless. I'm like, what are you talking about? Just give me a pipe. You got an old rusty pipe? Oh, like that.
Like my stacks, just metal in the U.S. has gone way up.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, everything's gone up.
Yeah.
So just the stack alone, just for a 500, it's a 10-inch stack, and they're about 6 feet. Just that's like $350 just for the stack, and that's only 120 wall. So imagine doing a quarter. Then it's like way heavy. Like just.
Oh man,
you can get away with different thicknesses on different areas, but your firebox stay quarter. Even bigger if you have to.
Oh, 100%. That was a big kicker when I finally sat down and understood the firebox to the cook chamber to the stack.
Yeah.
And you break it down like a car, because I'm a mechanical person. I just needed some kind of so if this is the engine that pushes the vehicle, which then has the exhaust, like all of a sudden it just kind of clicked.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, I was giving you like sketches, like pencil sketches. And you're like, oh, I got it. I was like, all right. I even called it. No, I got it. I was like, all right, man, go ahead. Take it, handle it. Let's see what you got,
Yeah. That was one of the neat things about me and Shane going back and forth, because he was already at the shop. He was working, and I happened to be at the shop, and I was building. I was like, does this look right? I'm about to weld it. He's like, holy shit, what are you doing? That's crazy. Perfect. Hold it up. Yeah.
Burn it in.
Yeah, it was quite a learning experience, but it was a lot of fun.
So how tall is your stack now? Or is that a personal question?
It's 8 feet plus the elbow.
So you're about at 10.
Yeah. Yeah, it's that, like, from the ground, it's like 14 feet in the air.
Yeah.
It's way up there.
That's pretty tall. I mean, it's still drawing good, though. So, I mean, they say there's a soul science to your stack needs to be this high. I mean, just don't go stupid where you're 30 feet in the air. But there is some kind of science to them all. I mean, like, with yours, I ain't never built a 750. So I was kind of just measuring what I would do for 1,000 and what I would do at 500. And I'm like, cut in the middle, right about there would be perfect. And it drawed good. It's all trial and error a lot of times too.
Yeah.
So, if you look at like Franklin Barbecue, his stacks, those things are like 20 feet high because he has to go out of his area where he cooks. He has to go out the roof and out and all that. So his are all very nice. They're 1,000s, but they work good.
Well, that was one of the tricky things for me coming from the eggs or like any of the other kind of smokers, having to learn the venting system and how it kind of doesn't matter. That's a really hard thing to swallow when you figure it out. Like, you see the old Mobergs, they're all the doors kicked open and locked.
I have nothing bad about Mobergs. Okay, his work is amazing. I just don't understand, why does he double insulate his doors when you open your door to get airflow?
No,
I was kind of a little weird about that. But I mean, that's his style. That's what he does. I mean, I can see you doing that when you do the vent, like the vent I told you to do. I can see that. It's gonna get loud right now. Oh no. A lot of guys are leaving the shop right now, so
okay.
I can see when you use a vent, use anything like that. I'm just not quite sure why he double insulates his firebox doors. I mean, it looks badass. I mean, the work that guy does is amazing, and so that's like where I want to be at one day on that level. We're still a small shop. I've only been open a year now, but I'm booked until about November as of right now.
Nice.
So, nice. I think we got about 25 or 26 we got to build, and it's every day just coming, and it's hard to keep up with a lot of it. And my wife's helped me out with answering questions and doing all that stuff now. So I'm training her to, okay, it's this much starting price. You have the insulated this much. You have the semi, it's this much. So,
well, that's what.
That's what everybody says is a great problem to have, The big problem is trying to find these damn tanks, you know.
Oh, right.
But I got people all over the place. Hey, I found a tank. Hey, I found a tank. Like, bro, you find me a tank, a 500 for one, I'll shoot you like a finder's fee. Like, I just need them, you know.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest thing.
It's funny you say that because a friend of mine, through my wife, was the one that supplied me the 2 propane tanks I nailed, right?
Yeah.
And they're supposed to decommission them and scrap them. They're supposed to be destroyed and scrapped. So when I was talking to him, he said they got in a lot of whatever before sending them to Texas. And I was like, who bought them in Texas? And he said, well, from time to time, like 18-wheelers will leave totally packed. And I was like, I'm going to go down and spray paint every single one of the tanks in your yard and then wait to see them on Instagram so I can figure out who's buying these tanks from Canada. That's
I guarantee it's Moberg's.
crazy, man. Like,
Guarantee.
Who would have thought that like tanks would be that hard to find that now you're bringing them from?
I actually talked to Moberg. You know, I had asked him about the whole cutting the door thing, and we kind of talked a little bit. And I said, yeah, I can't scrap tanks, man. It's hard out here to find them. I drive to Sacramento. That's 15 hours for me to get a 500 sometimes. He goes, it's even getting hard in Texas now. It's getting hard to find tanks out in Texas. So I guarantee it's him because that guy is just – he's booked 3 years in advance. You look at his shop, he's got 5 500s lined up, 5 1000s lined up. You're like, dude, how in the hell are you doing this kind of value or quantity of smokers? It's crazy.
Yeah, no, it's kind of neat. It happened with us like 10 years ago with all of our hot rods.
Yeah,
because when America picks up on something, there's no stopping her, man. She's gonna. And all of a sudden, my dad was bitching because he couldn't find any early 80s, late 70s Chev half tons, the square bodies, right?
Yeah.
And he's looking and he's like, I used to be able to find these for $900, and now everyone wants $5,000 because some asshole sold one to the guy in the States, and then they came up with a truck and put 6 on there, and now there's guys like walking through the farmers' fields looking for them, and they're not from around here, and I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's like, I'm pretty sure Americans are chicken hawking our farmers' fields for Chevys, square body Chevys.
Oh, I'm always looking.
Turns out he wasn't lying.
Oh yeah, they're hard to find here now. Yeah, they're hard to find here. Don't get me wrong.
Crazy.
That's funny. Last night I was looking for a square body. I was like, you know what? It'd be badass to have a square body Chevy laid out with the smoker behind it. Like, even bag the truck and then bag the trailer and just lay them both on the ground. I'm like, that would be fucking insane. But I was looking for the crew cabs, like the 4-door ones. I'm a bigger guy. I need a little more room for the stomach and stuff. And my daughter can sit in the back. So I was like, I'm gonna look for a crew cab. Can't find those motherfuckers nowhere. Like,
so you want this is so that we understand each other just a little better. As soon as I pick this thing up out of the paint shop, it looks awesome behind the Hummer. The Hummer's all blacked out. H2 with big mutters, right? It's a supercharger. I love her to pieces. As soon as I picked it up, all I could think about was like a 1992 Chevy dually slammed.
Yeah. Sick.
And imagine pulling up, and then the trailer, like,
that'd be so dope.
You got hydraulics in the trailer. Well, of course you do, just in case, right? Yeah, like that'd be nuts. But then
reach the door. Let me lower the smoker down a little bit. There you go.
That's it. Yeah. Now I'm doing gold flake on the smoker, right? Like, could you imagine? That'd be nuts. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, Chris, right? His name's Chris, right?
Chris. Yep.
Do you have a stick burner?
I do not. My dad had a stick burner. He had a stick burner for a while. Then he had a Meyer Mixon water pan smoker that we used a lot. So I would just go over there anytime we were gonna do anything big and kind of cook on his smokers.
Nice.
The water pan was nice, but it was only 36-inch box, so it was small. You can't he actually was able to put more on his stick burner when he had that. But yeah, his stick burner was like what you had, just that basic offset that you could control the temp and kind of babysit it a little bit and spend that time with it. And it's it's part of the experience is actually cooking on it as much as it is getting the food.
Well, you want to know a funny thing is like the mechanic. I don't even have a smoker myself. You know, the mechanic always has the fucked up car, but yeah, everybody else's car is nice. That's how I feel. I'm at the point where I'm gonna build one. It's just hard because I have so many I have to build. It's like, yeah, can I build one and I can cook on the weekends and I can do that? It's fun. But a lot of times, I'm in here 10, 12-hour days. I've been going all day and I just want to go home and spend time with the baby. But it's like that weekend where I'm not doing anything. I'm like, man, I wish I had a smoker right now. I just so busy. It's just hard to have time to cook and do all that. So we're in the works now. I'm gonna probably be building me a 500. I'm gonna do everything on it, like collapsible stack. Probably do the counterweights, just a big old showpiece. I still keep the rustic look. That way I can, people come say, hey, can I see what you guys do? Because you pretty much have to come when we're in the middle of a job. We finish one, we roll another one in. We finish one, roll another one in. So, a guy texted me today saying, hey, I really want to see your work. Can I see a 250 done? I said, well, we're just starting at 288. That's close enough to 250. We're just starting. So it's like, we're in the process of cutting the doors and all that's happening. So you really won't see one finish. So it'd be nice to have one here finish. And another thing, what I want to do is I want to actually be able to rent it out. So when people call like, hey, can I rent your smoker for the weekend? Yeah, I mean, that's money. It's not sitting there. Make some money. Why not,
Mm-hmm.
I get that a lot. Like, oh, I got a big cook this weekend. I need a smoker. Do you have one? I'm like, yeah, in October. It's crazy.
Yeah, that as soon as I posted mine, that was one of the first questions I had. One was how much right away. Someone was like, how much you want for it? And then the second one was how much to rent it out for the weekend.
Yeah.
And right away I was like, hell no. That's not going to go at all.
Yeah,
You're going to rent me
that's
with
your
it.
Baby.
Yeah, I'm coming with it, and you better have a bar that.
Yeah.
That's how she goes.
The bar better be as long as the smoker.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's the.
What? So how long is your smoker? I'm say about from your stack to your fire about 14, 15 feet, maybe even longer.
I want to say 18.
Yeah, I would say about 18 feet. Yeah, that's a big ass smoker.
It's a big unit, man. It's a big. Yeah, and like, I'm not joking. When I measured the garage, then I got the trailer, and the trailer was exactly the size of the garage. Then now the firebox has to sit flush with the back of the trailer. I was thinking it was going to hang lower and off, but it couldn't. It had to be up and on, which then changed the height of the grates for where you're standing, which worked out perfect because I'm tall. If some short guy tried to cook on it, he'd be hooped, man. It'd be he'd need a little step or something, right? But
burning himself on the grate line.
Yeah, that's it. Like for me, you see when I'm opening it, it's right where it needs to be. But just the stuff you don't even think of that just kind of comes when you build it. It's crazy.
Yeah. We do ours the same. So if you're short, you're short. If you're tall, you're tall. I built two for the last two I built. It's kind of funny. It's for women. They're starting to get into it too. It's awesome. The one I did for that girl, Smoke Queen, we did a full paint job on the trailer. We did a full stain, the counterweights. She went all out. She kept telling me, I want to bring sexy back to barbecue. I said, all right, let's do it. So she picked her color, we did her logo, all that good stuff. And she's literally, I want to say 5'1", 5'2", a little Asian lady, and she reaches as far as you can, I couldn't make it any smaller. I can't. It's sitting on the frame rails. That's all I can do. And the counterweights help because the counterweights stop the door from going so far. Yep. But so and then like the lady that picked hers up yesterday, she can barely reach. Like, I'll just get a stool. That's fine. I was like, cool. Yep. That one went up to Oregon. That's about 16, 18 hours from here. So they drove all the way down, got here Sunday. Went to Heritage Barbecue for the day, got some barbecue, and then picked up Monday morning. And she was just so stoked about it. The last 500 I just finished.
That's awesome, man. Man, you guys got some culinary shit happening down there. I wish I could go to a place like you can go on the weekend.
Oh yeah, you saw that taco spot I went to, right?
Yes.
That was just a Instagram post. I was like, whoa, wait a minute. I sent it to my wife, and I was like, look, babe, look what they got. Like, they got BBQ pizza. I said, we're going. So I drove an hour, and my wife wanted the BBQ ramen, so it was like best of both worlds. We bought the ramen, the pizza, the tacos, bought everything.
Yeah, man. That's
it's really blowing up out here. Like the barbecue scene is getting insane, and it's like everybody wants to be the next Heritage or the Moose Craft. So they're all coming to me or all the other builders and really wanting that smoker that's going to perform like that.
Yeah.
So it's just blowing up out here.
That's right away. That's what I was dealing with. As soon as I put that picture up, people were asking me, they're like, okay, who can I go to? If you don't, first they asked me, and I'm like, no, I'm not building them. This was for me. Like, I took a lot of family time out just to craft this for my own shit. Like, I don't want to do another one. I don't. Like, that's it. Maybe
I say that every time I finish one.
Yeah, oh man, just.
Well, I say that every time I gotta smell the fucking propane smell. That's when I'm like, I'm not doing this no more. I'm doing pipe. And then I'm like, you know what? Nah, we can get through it. We'll make it happen. But that smell, it just kills me.
Oh, you know what? And it lasted for well after it was done. I'm pretty sure I still had shirts that smelled like that. I'm pretty sure it was in the mullet. Like it was just lingering. It was crazy.
Your boots, you're like, I didn't even step in it. How did I get in my boots?
Yeah,
your truck smells like it, and then it's bad. It's insane, like that smell. That's the biggest thing.
That's so all the millwrights were laughing at me because at work I don't tend to, climb under tables or do anything too crazy like that, right? But it's my tank. They come walking around the corner, and I'm inside of it with broomsticks holding the doors open while I'm welding overhead, right? In rust, right? And they're like, holy shit, look at you. Look at you. What are you doing in there? And I come home and the wife is looking at me. She's like, I haven't seen you look like that since you were in your 20s. I was like,
yep.
Just covered in rust and dust, and all of your sweat pores are just full of steel, right?
The only reason I'm this clean today is because I drove around all day.
That's it.
I came into the shop, I drew some doors on this 288 we're starting, and then I looked at myself in the mirror and I had black on my face. I'm like, I didn't even do anything today. I just drew some lines. That's the only reason why I'm this clean today.
My kid's looking at me, and I got the respirator because I just didn't wipe my face off before I left, right? It's Sunday night. I come home and I got the respirator marks on it.
Good line.
Yeah, it was so funny. I was like, well,
it's
this.
Like you said, I was listening to you guys before I came on. It's not for everybody, man. People just think like you just snap your fingers and boom, it's done. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of hard work. Like I had to hire 2 guys. Like I was doing this all by myself for a while. I had a couple guys come and go, and guys learning and doing stuff. But I have a pretty good crew now. That are just, I can say, hey, this needs to be done. I'll be back. Boom, everything got done. Everything got done today that I needed done. When it comes down to the science and stuff, they're still learning. I hope one day that they can cut doors. I still cut all of my doors myself, but they're getting there. They're learning. Like they never worked with smokers. They have no idea. So, now I got like almost 30 of them under my belt. So within a year, couple months.
It's man. It's something else, and that's everyone kept asking me. They're like, "Oh, because you're doing it yourself, it must be so cheap." Well, the parts in the steel are still the parts in the steel. There's not a ton of markup on these, and that's the crazy thing. Because if I was staying late at work working for the oil field, do you know how much I'd be making?
Yeah, probably more than your smoker's worth.
It was kind of like if I sold this thing, I'd be at loss. Like it's. I get it, man. I totally get it.
Yeah. You would probably have to sell that thing for about $15,000, if not more. Probably almost almost 20. You know,
Oh, yeah.
that's just to make a nice profit and all your hard work and sweat that went into it, just to something to say, oh, okay, I feel good about that. You know,
Yep. Yeah,
you cut 2 tanks in half. That's insane.
yeah, I didn't know that all your profits right there. That's it.
God.
Yeah, gone. Fucking
How
gone.
long did that take you?
The seam was half the battle, man. It almost took me as long to do the doors as it did that seam.
Yeah, I can imagine. Sorry.
It sucked so bad.
I think I lost you guys. Hold on 1 second.
Yep. Uh-oh.
Yeah, that's crazy. Just the hours you guys put in to do that, and and people don't take that into account when they say, "Oh, it must be so easy for you to just put that together and go for it." And for to be able to get your money back out of that, you got to be able to do those. Nope, we lost them.
No, I pulled him off. I was going to put him back on. I'm just waiting for him to unfreeze.
Yeah, you got to be set up in order to do that stuff too. And it's not like your job would be like, yeah, you can just build smokers here for anybody you want, anytime you want.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like no joke, man. It's a lot of work. And that's one of those things like watching the Moberg has a video of his, same with Centex. They got a video on their YouTube of how they go through stuff and do stuff. It's crazy the amount of work that actually goes into there. And now I totally understand. You want to buy a big thing like this to be the heart of your restaurant, you're paying for it. And you're on a wait list because it is the real deal. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. And so I must say, I saw craftsmanship is a big one. Yeah. Javi knows exactly what time it is. I don't know that I could find a tank that looked like my tank.
Sorry about that.
If there was a place up here that I could go today to buy a smoker, I don't know that it would look the same as what I did. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying it's amazing. There's still some bubbles here and there. Shit's painted. Shit's rusted. It is what it is. And I was in a hurry. I wanted to get home to the kids. I didn't do everything perfect. I could have, but I didn't. It's not going to haunt me because it's still amazing. And I'm happy with it. I'm totally happy with it. I didn't do the best I could do, but I did for sure more than the bare minimum for what it was. And it went together very nicely. Very happy with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's nice.
Yeah, man, that's the crazy thing. Like I see when Moberg does the shots of their fireboxes and they have that like seamless edge, they've got that figured out to a T. It's the corner to corner, no gap. They must have a firebox edge machine that's dialed in. That's just sitting there on park waiting to hit those seams.
Oh. Yeah, they CNC cut everything. You could totally tell they're CNC cutting everything. Oh, yeah. I mean, I CNC cut a lot of my stuff, handles, the collector and whatnot. But fireboxes like that, I'll have everything cut and just there's a way to get that perfect seam line. It's pretty much grind the top, grind the sides, and just throw a little bevel on it. But yeah, they're fireboxes they must have one guy just sitting there knocking out fireboxes and grinding them, that's all they got.
When I started hitting the buffer on there, like, them buffing pads ain't free. You know what I mean? And I was like, I could probably throw another pass on here and then hammer her down again for that mirror finish, but I'm painting it. Whatever. I'm happy looking at a nice looking weld. I'm good with that.
Like you said too one time to me, we grind where we need to grind and we leave the weld where we need to leave the weld. Like there's certain places you should grind, there's some places you're not. I like to grind all my collectors. We will, we wrap the tube around and weld it all inside and out, make sure it's super strong and just grind. To me, this looks cleaner. But then when I throw the pipe on top or the stack on top of the collector, a nice, beautiful bead around that, and you leave that,
Yep. No, it's funny you say that because when I welded up that the step down to the elbow, and I was looking at it. Yeah, it was beautiful. But for some reason, I was like, I've got to grind it off. I can't just. I need that. I need that because it's got the hips to it. I was like, it can't have hips and then a seam. It needs hips and then a straight pipe. Like it doesn't.
Yeah.
So then I hit it, and I couldn't help it. It was just a weird thing where I was just like, yeah, no, and I get. So every builder now, I can see they've got their own little flair they add to their sticks, their machines, right? And that's what keeps them like Centex, their crazy door system that weighs like 800 pounds. And I was looking at that and I was like, do you need that? Does that have to be like crazy?
Little overkill. Like,
yes.
What's wrong with a couple? You know, we make everything in house. Like our hinges are all made in house. 3/4 round bar. You know, we forge them and bend them. And, you know, we have a little jig that we made. I mean, anybody can go buy a piano hinge and weld that thing on. Anybody can go buy I like more of the craftsmanship of just hand making a lot of the stuff. Yeah, you know, we get our CNC parts. I mean, that just saves me hundreds of, you know, time and minutes and hours of cutting with the plasma grinding. But I just feel like sometimes a little overkill on some things, but they're beautiful pits. Don't get me wrong. What those guys do and Mobergs do is just amazing. Like, you know, I look at some of their stuff. I'm like, yeah, that's a cool idea. You know, this, and they must be doing it for a reason. It just helps with the door. I'm not quite sure why they you know they use those hinges. Do you like the ball bearing hinge, right, where you slide the tube through?
They call like the pillow blocks.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so they're totally adjustable, greasable, whatever.
So I mean, that's a cool idea, but you know, they you know just like overkill. I mean, that's their style though. Like I use 3/4 inch solid bar on an 80 gallon. Someone's like, "Why you do that?" I was like, "Why not? Like make it a little bit of overkill, you know." 2x3 120 wall on a trailer and brace it, and you know.
Yep. Well, that's the thing, man. For me, I'm coming from like Traegers and Big Green Eggs, and you know, and then you're looking at this and you're like, it's heavy duty. Everything is super heavy duty.
I feel you built that thing fast, man. I feel like I don't know. I mean, I'm over here working, and I see you got the doors done. I was like, wow, that's pretty quick. You got the counterweights on. I was like, well, it wasn't bad. Like, I wasn't like timing you, but I was like, wow, he's moving along, and next thing you know, it's done.
Yeah.
How long did it take you?
I couldn't say for sure. If I put it into like hours, I didn't really keep track. Evenings and weekends for like a couple weeks.
Yeah.
But they weren't whole because I still had my Instagram shit, and we did this. I didn't miss any of this. We do every Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
And the wife eats up a ton of the babies, right? They eat up a ton of time too. So I made sure I wasn't cutting everybody out. I should have kept better time, but it wasn't a ton of time. But like I said, what's that?
80 hours?
Less.
50 hours? Less?
Yeah, I'd say 50 probably.
That's pretty good. That's not bad. Just by yourself?
Yeah. Well, I had a millwright give me a hand holding shit and taking pictures and stuff. And then I had someone help me with the trailer doing the electrical because I got the big sausage fingers. I just get mad and smash stuff. I don't want to.
I don't do that either. I don't mess with. We're metal guys. We don't mess with electrical shit or painting or none of that. I don't mess with that shit.
One of my millwrights was like, "I used to build RVs." I'm like, "And you're hired? You're working for beer now. Come on over."
So what's awesome is where I'm at. I have 2 doors down. I have a guy that does paint and bodywork, and 2 more doors down. I have a guy that does. He rebuilds Airstreams, so he does wiring, all that.
Nice.
So I go to him, hey, I got a trailer for you. All right, boom, knocks it out. You know, I give him some cash, and then my painter guy, we work together on painting the smokers, painting the trailers, and whatever we have to do. So it's nice where I'm at. I like it. It's just we already outgrew the shop. Like this shop's, it's a small shop. You know, when I got it, I was like, oh my, this is massive. You know, I was in a single car garage. You know. And now I'm in here, and I'm like, you get 2 500s in here and 1 on a trailer. You're like, 3 guys working, you know? You got 3 guys going, and it's just, we need something a little bigger. We're looking.
Yep.
Yeah, it's awesome to see that growth in, 14 months, 13 months, did you say?
Yeah, about it's insane. Like,
a lot of
I
people
never-
are sitting at home and wanting to learn how to cook.
yeah, yeah. I never thought that. You know, when I opened up the shop, it was called SG Metalworks for a reason. You know, Metalworks, we do everything. You know, and it just evolved into what it evolved in now. And I'm super grateful and thankful. And it's, you know, really made me understand how these things work, the, you know, inside and outs, trying different things. Like we've used like water pans as baffle plates. We tried that, you know, and then we moved on to a plate at the top of the firebox, then we moved down lower. We just different things, you know, angling it. And we got them down now where they just flow good and they cook amazing. I mean, I helped you out with, you know, you did all that damn work. I'm not trying to take any credit, but
Oh yeah, no.
just a little tips in here. I'm like, you do this, you move this up, you move that. It's just gonna flow. And that's what you're looking for, the flow, the smoke, you know.
Yep. Oh yeah, no, and then like the water pan, that's a golden nugget right there, man. That's right away. As soon as I threw the chicken on there, I was like, this wouldn't be going this good if that wasn't sitting right where it's sitting. I could tell right away, just from my experience with Big Green Egg and smoking that way, right? Everything was sticking so nicely.
Nice.
And it wasn't just smoke. It was like a nice hue. Like the skin was yeah.
Did you fully insulate yours? I couldn't remember.
Yeah. So I wrapped it with the forge.
Yeah.
And then double insulated.
Okay. So yeah. Okay.
Yeah, she was.
How was that when you had to put the other pipe inside of a square and weld it and wrap it? How'd that go?
It's crazy. It's totally crazy. Like, and that's where you're halfway through doing it when someone was like, "Why didn't you do it this way?" And you're like, "Where were you an hour and a half ago?" Because now I'm too far into it to go back. And you're,
how did you do it? I forgot how. Did I tell you? How'd you end up doing it? I think you already had that part done.
Just magic. just magic. That's
so. We don't want to give too much away.
I put the pipe on the tank, welded it up solid, and then I built the box with no sides.
Yeah.
And free hung it, wrapped the pipe, so everything was done, and then started welding the box to the tank, and then welded the face. It was.
So this is what I would have done. I mean, I'll give some guys can get a couple little pointers right now. This is how we do ours. So we don't really do the square fireboxes unless the customer asks. We will do it. So what I would do, is your front plate with the door, right?
Yep.
You would set your tube onto that front plate. I'm trying to know where the camera's at, like that, pretty much. Weld that in to where the door would be. That makes sense. If you have the pipe going to where the door is. And then, you know, make sure it's the right length to where it's going to touch the back of the firebox, it'd be the front of the firebox. And then, you know, slide that in and then weld it from there. So it already has that weld seam on the inside of where the door is at. So you're not, how the hell am I going to get all the way around it, you know? So that's what we do. Like, we'll get our round plates and we'll set the 24-inch sleeve on top and on the forklift or whatever, burn it in, and then slide it into the other, like a 250 or whatever, 250 cut in half or whatever, you know. So that's just the way I've learned different things.
We had a 300-pound white rhino upside down, stuffed into a 24-inch pipe through a door with a faceplate, trying to weld the inside.
Yeah,
it was crazy. It was crazy.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Get that done. It was silly. It was.
You need like a little 120-pound guy to crawl in there and burn the bottom in and come around and burn the bottom. Yeah.
As it turns out, all the 120-pound millwrights that I have that said they can weld took it all back when I needed to put them in that pipe.
Yeah.
Right away, they were like, no. Yeah, I don't actually weld. I was just saying that for 5 years. I don't actually. Yeah.
Yeah, I got a new guy that started with me a couple months ago, and he's been doing been welding for a while, but his name's Rob. Rob the Welder on Instagram if you guys want to follow him. He definitely learning a lot from me, and he's appreciative of it, but kid has some skills. He's young, 21, 22, and he's just willing to learn, and it's nice having a good hand, and then I have another guy named Gabe. He does a lot of the shit that I don't want to do, the grinding and the cutting everything. I'll give him a cut list. Here you go, man. I need 30 tubes cut. All right, and he's cutting the grates but I just have a good team right now, and it's just we're starting to get a good flow going. I mean,
That's
and
awesome.
there's a lot to be said about that, having people that you can trust to do stuff.
Exactly.
And not just trust to do it, but trust to do it to your standard and your qualities that you're putting your name on.
Exactly.
And that really makes life a lot easier for you.
Yeah, and this is like with Rob. It's about our fourth smoker, I would say, since he's been here with me. So he's starting to get the rhythm down, starting to understand. Oh, okay. Now I see why you do this or why we do that. It's just starting to flow a lot nicer and starting to get a good rhythm.
That's awesome.
That's awesome, man.
So, Mel, talk to me a little bit about cooking on your smoker now. Like, what are you finding? How are you testing it? That's a lot of area, so there's got to be some hot spots, some cooler spots on it.
Yeah, obviously, the closer to the firebox you are, the quicker everything's cooking, right? And you're placing. Now it's important to place your point towards the firebox. You're getting that way so that the heat that's pummeling it is not. I'm still. There's a bit of a learning curve still for that first grate that I'm dealing with. Trying to get around that with keeping my fire small enough it's not licking out the box and stuff like that. So yeah, there's still huge learning curves with it. Also, if there's kind of dead airspace where I'm putting, say, quarter chickens or something, feeling things out, there's some spots where it gets really smoky and almost crispy. Other spots where it's just perfect golden all the time, right? So you're trying to learn what should go where, how you're dealing with it. There's definitely, it's a lot of real estate, and there's a lot of things going on in there. Also, I need a hookup. If anybody's on here and has a good hookup for thermometer gauges, I need the Tell True gauges. Up here in Canada, they're $65 a piece.
Can't go on Amazon?
On Amazon. That's because you have to pay import fees per unit.
What if I were to buy them and ship them to you?
That's it. We might have to do that, buddy, because I need 3-inch by 1/2-inch Tell Trues. It's a nightmare. So I'm using the old Amazon like Pitmaster series 3-inch right now, and my gradients is like within 100 degrees. I think it's So I'm gonna pull them off this weekend and calibrate them all. I think out of the box they were all fucked. So
yeah, that happens a lot with those. They I'm sorry, I was looking for one of my Tell. I had 3 of them somewhere. I don't know where they're at. But that happens a lot with those Tell Trues. They need to be calibrated. You know, and a lot of guys tell me, "Oh, I'm getting hot spots. I'm getting this." I'm like, that's you gotta learn your cooker. You gotta learn.
Yeah,
it's gonna be hotter by the firebox. Heat rises. It's gonna be hotter on top. You just have to really learn your cooker and see where everything is fluctuating.
Yeah, well, I remember with my dad's smokers, the first time we would cook on them, we would take a couple loaves of bread, lay it across the grates, and kind of just see, okay, how quickly are they cooking and where are they getting crispier first? What's kind of following it? I think, Mel, you said you were doing something similar with like chicken thighs.
Yeah, chicken thighs everywhere. 2 big barbecue packs of chicken thighs, and just every square inch had, within 6 inches, another chicken thigh. See what they were doing.
You notice that your heat rises, right? Because heat will rise, and the hotter is going to be up top. Hotter spots are going to be up on top, right?
Yep. Yeah, that's so the top deck is for sure like crisping, chicken wings, something hot and fast.
Yeah.
Right. All the briskets are somewhere in the center. The pork cuts. And they can take a beating so they can go closer to the firebox. If I want a heavy smoke, she's going out in the cone, because I'm pretty sure things are doing crazy stuff on that end.
Yeah,
right? There's a lot of smoke happening.
Trying to go out.
Yeah, there's a lot of smoke happening, not a lot of cooking happening. So if that's where I'm hitting the smoke, and then I can double back and hot and fast it at the back, it's pretty cool. But so when I did the burn-in, I had her up to 450 degrees. I had that fire I had that fire fucking clipping, man. I was throwing stumps in there. I was just like, you know what I mean? I had one
Pallets.
going. Yeah. And then it got like, I thought 300, 350. Okay, no problem. I'm going to back it off now. And it started climbing more. And then I was like, oh shit, I'm going to fuck my paint job. And I just, like, it is the first fire in it, right? But I'm spraying it, I'm seasoning it. And that was huge. I wanted to make sure I got like all of it out, all the bad stuff out, get a good season. Everything was stuck. So it worked. I had it up to 450. I seasoned her for like 6 or 8 hours. Very happy with how that sunk in and finished up. And now like 225, 250.
Okay.
That's what we're coasting at nonstop. Yeah, and that's there's no 300. I can throw extra logs in and it creeps up a bit, but like we're stuck 225, 250.
Perfect.
How big of a difference is there from the zone next to the firebox versus the zone on the other side? Are you talking like 50-degree difference?
50, maybe 25.
Yeah, I would say about 25.
Yeah.
You have a big lot of surface, so that's a long ways to travel. That's pretty good.
But it's still like you're not losing a ton. Like I said, in that cone, there's something happening because the gauges are still reading pretty decent. It's not a drop off at the end. I will tell you this though, with that last video I put up, it was snowing and we had wind. That steel cools off quick when it's -2. Like when it's freezing, it's no joke, man. Now you have to feed that dragon just to deal with the wind, right? Like it's crazy. And that's another learning curve all in itself where like now I'm like I should set up a hoarding if I have to deal with this shit. Like it's just to get the wind off it, right?
Wind is not good for offsets. Like you'll get backdraft, you'll start getting smoke out your doors. You're like, what the hell is going on? It's just that wind will push it in, pull it back out, push. It just it gets windy out here in Fontana Rialto area. It gets so windy, like crazy.
Right,
the Packers fans always rolling in there. There you go.
Yeah, everywhere, man. So yeah, when you're cooking on that, are you using a water pan at all? Are you bringing it in your moisture?
Yes. So I have a big water pan that's set up in my firebox-ish
secret
area.
Location.
Yeah, I'm not getting too deep into it, but there is a water pan in the unit on that end, and it's doing its thing, and it's.
You'd be amazed. You'd be amazed. Yeah, you'd be amazed how big of a secret that area is.
Yeah.
Like I was even a little tempted to show you, but I'm like, this guy ain't building him. Who gives a shit? Like I'll show him. You know, I knew you weren't building him. You weren't going to be a competition, like you had said, and that area right there, like,
oh no,
nobody shows it. Mobers won't show it. Nobody will show it.
The biggest guys in the game are doing like demonstrations on their trophy room smokers, right? With the speckled paint job and the whole 9 yards. They're like, and now we're gonna pan down. No, we're not. We're going right past there. And it's like, oh shit, that's what I wanted to see. What was going on there? And they're like, yeah, we're not showing it. And now I know.
I get messages all the time.
Yeah. After building one, now I know. That's why no one is showing that hole.
Yeah.
So I messaged Barber about that workhorse pits he had, right? And I was like, just send me a picture of your firebox hole. And right away he sent me a message back. He's like, that's really random. Why do you want that? I'm like, you don't own workhorse. What do you care? He's like, well, now I want to know why. Like, what if it's, he's all weird. It's his smoker. I'm like, just calm down and send me the picture of your firebox hole.
Isn't that primitive? The primitive guys, right? Primitive guys workhorse and primitive are the same guys. Yeah,
I think so. They could be. Yeah, I don't know for sure, but yeah, like that was a huge thing right away. I was like, wow,
So I had a guy ask me the other day. He goes, "Man, can I really see where your water pan and your baffle plate and all that goes? Can I see it?" And I was like, "Yeah, man. When you set a deposit in, I'll send all the pictures you want." He goes, "Oh, like that?" I was like, "Sorry, man. It's a big top secret in the barbecue building industry. I mean, that's a lot of the part of how everything flows, you know,
Uh-huh.
trying to protect, you know, right close to the firebox. You were saying you're getting really hot by your firebox, right?
Yep.
Have you tried putting a log kind of close to the firebox to help it a little bit? So what
No.
guys will do what guys, I've seen a lot of guys do, I haven't tried it because, you know, I never need to, I'm always burning them out. But what a lot of guys will do, like right before where, you know, the firebox goes to the cook chamber, on the grates, they'll actually just set a log right there, you know, going across.
Yep.
It just helps out with a little bit more of that heat wanting to spike and everything. Don't get it too close to your firebox because that fucker will catch on fire. I've seen that happen.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of, I had people say like use fire bricks and lay fire bricks across the front of your grid or something, and I was like, I don't
Just
really want to put
a log or two. Yeah, a
Yeah.
log or two, you'll be fine. It
Yeah.
helps. Try it. I mean, it doesn't hurt to try it.
Yeah. Well, I'm aggressive too with my fire, right? Like I could definitely dial it back, but if I'm fighting the wind, I'm trying to get the heat going in there, right? Because it's swinging from 250 to 200 like that. And I look in there and I just put logs in there. I'm like, well, now I got to double down. Now I have to, because I'm chasing it, right? So that's, yeah.
Well, you're in Canada, right? And he's where are you located? Wisconsin. So what's it out there right now? What's the weather like right now?
Yeah, right now it's 43.
Today it was 85 in California. I was sweating. I was up the mountain in Big Bear, and there's snow, still a little bit of snow up in Big Bear. That's about an hour and a half from my shop. And it was 75 degrees, and people were out there, you know, snowboarding with no shirts on and shit. I'm like, California's crazy, man. It's just 1 minute it's cold, 1 minute it's hot, you know.
See, you're going to get that all over the place now. What's the price on this and that? What's the... Oh,
no, it's nonstop. How much for this? How much for that? The best is when somebody has asked me, not customer, but somebody on Instagram asked me, from an 80 gallon, every time I post one, from an 80 gallon all the way to a 500, they ask me every single price. And they still ask me, and I'm like, man, it hasn't really changed that much. This is the price, you know, starting price, this, starting price, that. I get it a lot. I mean, it's part of the business. You know, I try to answer everybody best I can. You know, I text you back right away. You know, I'm working and I'm on my phone. I'm working and I'm on my phone. Like, I have my phone by me sometimes. You know, it was really bad when I first started because I was going home and doing it. And the wife was like, you need to chill a little bit. I said, all right, I just need to get that clientele going. Now we have a good clientele where I get home, my phone's off pretty much. Yeah. You know, time to spend time with the daughter and the wife and kick back.
Oh, you know? I wish, man. I got this whole Instagram thing going, and it's 8 hours a day almost, man. So being in the weld bay all day and then having to catch up with comments and videos and all, like, it's a job, man. It's a legit job.
Especially the following that you have, like, I can imagine. I'm almost at 5,000, and if I don't look at my phone for a day, I have over 100 something messages or 2,000 likes. I'm like, what the hell? Like,
and that's I try to be on my game as much as I've ever been, and sometimes that, like, it's bad. It's real bad. You can be at the wedding, and I'd be like, excuse me, you know, and people are like, what the actual fuck, Mel? Like, put your fucking phone away. I'm like,
I was getting bad at that too.
Yeah.
You know, I was at my grandparents' house and I'm over on my phone looking for tanks, and my grandma's like, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm just trying to work, find tanks, you know?
Yeah.
So
no, that's like my mom always used to give me shit for it, right? And then one day I was chatting with one of the chefs out in Toronto, and she's watching him on TV. And I was like, yeah, that's the guy I'm talking to. And she was like, bullshit, show me. So I'm like, hey, my mom wants to say hi. And he messaged back, and she's like, okay, well, go back on your phone then. What else did he say? I'm like, exactly.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's not just nothing. This is, you know, it's a thing.
Yeah, you know, my wife, she understands, you know, but I do have to sometimes just say, okay, I'm putting it down. Or once my daughter goes to sleep, I can answer some messages because, you know, having kids is a full-time job itself. So my wife, you know, she does work sometimes 2 to 3 days a week, and then she'll watch the baby. I'm in the process of just having her quit and work full time for me because I need her to do everything. So it could take a load off of me, and I could be more in the shop, worrying about more stuff in the shop. I forgot where I was going with this, but yeah, it's just she realized what I have to do, and now it's at a point where I can kind of kick back a little bit. But what we do is like I work all day, I get home, shower, spend some time with the baby. She finally falls asleep, and it's like 10:30, 11. She goes, "All right, you ready to do estimates? You ready to do invoices? You ready to?" I'm like, sure. I'm overtired, but we do it. We're up till 11 o'clock at night, 12 o'clock at night, still doing estimates, and we're getting a good rhythm going with that too. So,
yeah. Well, that's my man Chris. He's in the medical field, right? So he knows, and he's got kids. He's the grind, man. The grind, and he's on the Snake River team as well as the Big Green Egg team. So he's
okay.
Yeah, he's busy. He's a busy dude, man. And
it's all about balance, and
sometimes
you have to make. I probably don't comment on as much stuff as I can because I get behind, and then it's like once you're behind, there's no catching up. So I try to do what I can, but you work so much, you do all those hours, you got to have that time with the kids, and that's you have to devote that time to being present and being a father too, and that's the balance.
Yeah, I'm new to the whole father thing. My daughter's only 2, so I just. Still trying to learn how to do this, how to do that, certain things. But she comes in this shop and she's the boss. She's over here picking up trash. Like, why is there trash on the floor? She's over here trying to drive the forklift. She grabs a hammer, starts hitting the tank. So I'm like, she's gonna be my shop girl. I can't wait. She's gonna love it.
That's awesome. You say it. So I've got a 6-year-old and 1-year-old, and we went to a birthday on the weekend. My 6-year-old walks into the place, looks around. There's a couple people there that she's not met, but most of them she knows, right? Sits down right in between a bunch of people that are sitting at the sectional already. Goes and sits down right between them, starts eating the snacks that are on the table, turns around and starts like small chatting everybody that's sitting around there. And this dude's staring at me. He's like, "That is 100% your kid, dude. She's working the room. She's 6 years old." Like, "Oh, hi, who are you? What do you do? Hi, what's going on here?" And he's like, legit, man, like, that is your kid, right? I was like, that's awesome. Just, you get into a new scenario, take the whole room in, and she was totally working the room. I was like, you're 6 years old. Look at you go. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, kids are awesome, man. Like, I never would have thought, I'm 35 now, and I have a 2-year-old, almost a 2-year-old. Should be in May. So it's just a blessing, and I love it.
Yeah, my whole life I was like, I don't know, and now I'm like, I couldn't trade a weekend without them.
Yeah, I need more so I can just hire them to work for me.
Exactly.
20 years, I can just say, I'm done. You guys got it. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Like you know how it is. Like, I've been doing this for 15 years, man. Grinding, welding, and it's a lot. It gets tiring, And I'm trying to set myself up to where this shop can run itself, but still have my flavor and my taste, because that's what people are buying. They're buying my ideas and the flavor that I throw into them, and nice welds. That's the biggest thing. You have to be a nice welder to work here. I went through, when I was looking for a new guy, I went through like probably 7 guys interviewing, and I was just like, I don't trust, not that I don't trust, but can I leave you to go ahead and weld up a door and be good?
Yeah.
That's that one.
Yeah, that's.
But this guy Rob, he just out of nowhere called the shop phone and said, "Hey, you guys are hiring?" I was like, "Yeah, come down." He came down, and we're finishing that second house that we built, the smokehouse, and I was already up and down that ladder like probably 1,000 times, welding all the square tubing, welding the expanded. And he came in, and I was like, "Let me see you weld." Like, "Oh, yeah, you can weld. Want to work now? You're hired." He was like, all right. I was like, "Here you go. Climb up that ladder. I'm done, dude." He was like, "Can I go make a phone call real quick?" I was like, "Yeah, go ahead, bro."
Yeah,
so
that's awesome.
Yeah, those smokehouses, they came out pretty nice, And like you said, like, you just have that idea in your head. That's my blueprint. I draw the trailer, measure stuff and all that, but everyone's like, how'd you come up with this? I was like, right here. It's
Yep.
all in my head. Like, we're not mass producing these to where, yeah, I can cut 2,000 part or material and just keep smacking them together. Every tank is different, like you said. I don't think there's two tanks alike in this world. Every tank's different. 500s, there's stretched 500s, there's shorter 500s, there's 288s that are stretched, there's 250s up, it's just, so I build the trailer and everything to your smoker in your tank and what it's gonna be made for,
Yeah. I remember, man, when I cut them and I took one and I slid it over to the other one and I was like, clunk. And it just, why didn't I think that was going to go that way? For sure, I knew that was going to go. Like, how else is it going to go?
You told me that, and I was like, man, you got some balls. Crazy, dude. I wouldn't have done it.
The millwright that had run out to the parking lot to record me cutting it, right? He was standing there. He's like, now what the fuck are you going to do? I'm like, that's a great question, and I'm working on that. As we deal with everything else, I'm working.
Make it happen.
That's it, man. We got the dogs and the wedges out. I got the sledgehammer out. Got the chains, the come along out.
I would have imagined your motherfuck. Yeah,
the
that's
whole
me.
time, man. The whole time. This sucks.
You're like, you know what? I'm going home.
Yeah, that was my one moment where I was like, I don't know if I really want this. I'm not quite sure that this was really a good idea. Yeah, but then you're already in it, and you just keep flowing. And now we're here. Now we're fantastic. Now I'm super happy. But getting to that was a tricky one. So
can imagine. I wouldn't have done something. I would have. Yeah, I mean, I've cut caps off and done that, and cut them in half, and you hear them. They go. You hear that cracking noise? They crack, crack, and you're like, "Oh, this thing's moving." You cut doors. You're like, "Please don't move," and you hear "bong." You're like, "Oh, here we go. Give me the torch." Let's heat this bitch up and smack her back in.
Yeah,
but
that's oh man. The metalwork that goes into it. It's you got to be a craftsman.
Yeah, it's definitely like you said, you got to be a craftsman. It's a lot of work, but we got these down pretty good now. Like I would say like a 250 on a casters, 1 week we can knock out if it's clean, ready to go. And once I cut those doors, about a week. It's just everything's down now to a science.
Yep. Yeah, it's crazy.
And just as a reminder for people, if you're not following Shane, you can find him on Instagram at @SG_metal_works. Check him out. He's got some awesome pictures of a lot of the smokers he's built, some on trailers, some on casters. He's at the smokehouses that he's been talking about. Really cool stuff. And you're located in where?
We're in Rialto, California. We're about an hour from LA.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're out of the city. So not too bad, but that's where everything's happening though, man. All the barbecue spots are in LA now. It's like I was talking to you about. We drive an hour and a half to get some good food.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple good spots out here. A lot of guys that are starting to do pop-ups. A couple of my customers, and 20 minutes from me, I'll go. I always try to support all my customers and at least try their food at least one time. So
we got to throw in there. Bert Kreischer's Super Bowl barbecue feast came off of one of the pits.
That was a trip.
Okay.
People were sending me pictures like, "Hey, did your pit cook that?" I was like, "The pit did. I did it, but the pit did." Yeah. Bart's kind of fell into that smoker. It was kind of weird. So I built that smoker. It was just an 80-gallon, small guy, for somebody, and for some reason that day I was feeling like, you know what, I'm gonna put the firebox on the left side. Didn't ask him.
No.
And then I built it, finished it, and I sent him a picture, and he's like, "Man, that's not really what I was envisioning." I'm like, "This is how I build my smokers, dude. Like, what are you talking about?" He's like, "Well, I kind of wanted the firebox on the right side." Doesn't matter what side you put the firebox on. That's just preference. Maybe because he was left-handed, right-handed. I said, all right, cool, no worries, man. I was like, I'm not cutting it and flipping it around. So let's do this. I'll build you a new one. I guarantee I can sell this one within a day. I sold it within hours, and Bart's bought it. So I didn't really know Bart's, but knowing that he's a chef and he's a real good cook and all that, and he kind of just like, it was kind of cool how he cooked, like you said, Bert Kreischer and those guys and Tom Segura and Sap. But Dave came and cooked on it with him, and that was cool. That's how I met Dave. Dave hit me up, and we did a podcast for him, and so it's been kind of cool, man. Like a little bit of a star thing going, but it's kind of cool, like weird, like.
Yeah, yeah, man. That's so deadly. I love it.
I don't know if you guys ever seen the Burger Show on YouTube with Alvin Kalani. He does for First We Feast. I think he does like a spinoff with them. Like he works for, I don't know if he works for them or what he does, but he does like the Burger Show, and he does like a lot of famous people, like man, I don't know. He had like Fluffy on there. He's had all kinds of people on there. So I actually built him a 250. So I built him a 250. That's down in Chinatown. So that was kind of cool, somebody with a little bit of star power. He's a real famous chef. So he does a lot of burger stuff, but he owns a like a meat, like not meat, like a butcher place down in Koreatown or Chinatown, sorry, called Amboy Quality Meats. And he's like, look, I do burgers, I sell brisket and everything, but I need a smoker. So we started talking, and it was like, I just want like an 80-gallon or a 120. I was like, look, man, if this is going to be on YouTube, you're a big YouTube star. I'm not giving you an 80-gallon. We need to do a 250. All right, let's do it. So we built him a badass 250, and he cooks on it, does some YouTube stuff on it. So it's pretty cool.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, that's so I know quite a few people in Cali. One day I will come just drop on you. It's going to be
We're here.
It's inevitable, man. COVID has kept me out of there in 2020, probably 2021, but 2022 I'll just show up on your door, and I hope you have a cold beer somewhere, because that's what I do. But
hopefully by then we have the bigger shop, and we can definitely get more going.
Oh, it's crazy the amount of things that are happening in your guys' tight-knit little world right now. I can't wait to see what comes out of there, man.
Yeah, well, it's funny. Like, I'm sending smokers to Chicago, to Texas, to Colorado. Oregon, now Abu Dhabi. Like, it's insane. Like, it's just picking up. And now there's all these barbecue shows that are coming on. It's making it even more better for us,
Yeah,
well, that's one of the neat things that I'm seeing too. A lot of the small mom and pop places that I have been frequenting, barbecue supply stores, whatever, they're blowing up. Everyone like barbecue. It's the time right now for barbecue. It's the time. The time is now.
Well, I think COVID helped too, because everyone to cook at home. Like, and you think a 250 would be for a restaurant or something. Man, you don't know how many 250s are done for people's backyards. A lot.
Yep.
But so many, And like I said, that guy, Alvin, the funny thing was we built him a 250, and then he's like, hey, can you deliver it? I said, yeah, no problem. So we're rolling through Chinatown, through a little shopping center with tiles. And I'm like, man, I hope we don't break these tiles, because this thing's heavy,
Yeah,
and we're just rolling through, and you can hear the dampener plate on top going ding, 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 ding. And I'm like, looking at people like, hey, push you through the thing. And like, it's amazing, man. Like, we have pits everywhere now, and it's only getting bigger and bigger. And I'm so thankful to all my customers and what they've support that I've gotten. I started off my shop, like when I started in here, I had like 200 followers. Now we're almost at 5,000. Like, that's pretty cool,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man, that's awesome.
And like I say, like we try to, I'm always constantly posting, let people see how we're doing stuff. Like, see what I want them to see. But see that we're grinding, we're working, we're trying, And, some of my customers, they get a little angry because I'm behind a little bit, but it's like big growing pains our first year, trying to figure out what we're going to do, how we're going to do it. So yeah, it's just we're just get that good flow going and trying to knock them out.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, there's big things coming. This is going to be your year for sure. This is going to be the title year that turns everything around to the next level.
Yeah, the next thing we're trying to do now is I want to do like a production pit. I want to do something that's gonna be a good backyard pit that still works like a traditional offset, still has our flavor, still has our style. Not a Oklahoma Joe. I mean, nothing against those. If that's what
Yep.
you can afford. But try to figure out where I can keep the price down, but yet still get you a good cooker.
Mhm.
Yeah, these 80 gallons and all those are cool, but I want a production one where it's just boom, boom,
Yep.
boom. Like we're just snacking them out. Like, like the workhorse pits and Mill Scale and those guys. They have a nice production pit. So that's what kind of I'm trying to get into the next process of doing, but it's just room, man. Like we run out of room so fast in here, it's crazy.
No. Oh,
We're working outside and grinding outside and doing what we got. In front of my shop, it's rusty as fuck. There's so much rust on the ground. I'm surprised the landlord hasn't called me like, dude, what the hell? Like, I'll pressure wash it, So
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Fantastic.
Yep. Right on, man. Right on. Well, this was good. This was really good. Thank you very much for coming on, Shane.
No problem, guys.
It's great to get the insight on the stuff behind the scenes. We talk so much about the cooking on the pits that it's nice to get the fabrication part of it. So people realize that there is a lot more that goes into this other than just, hey, I'm taking a tank and cutting doors in it. There's a lot more science behind it. It's cool to hear and see what you've done in the past 13 months, how you've grown and how that's all come along. So I think that's been pretty cool.
Yeah, we specialize. I mean, we do everything, any kind of live fire. I don't know if you've seen. We've done Santa Maria's. We've done like a chicken flip box. I've done like a thing called a hot box where it was like an actual like smoker box that you had a Santa Maria on the inside, so the grate would lower up and down, but it was still like a smoker. So it kind of gave you that option of I can go down and sear it real quick, or go back up and just smoke it. So we've tried to push the limits on different things, and so we do anything that with live fire. That's what we do.
That's awesome.
That is awesome. Yep.
Yeah. And just a reminder for everybody too, you can find us on Apple Podcasts and Amazon Podcasts for sure. Just search After the Cook Podcast. Remember, hit subscribe, give us a review, give us those 5 stars, and listen to us on your way to work. You can catch up. You can catch up on old shows. I think we have posted 10 or 11 shows on there, so definitely look into it, guys.
Yeah, man. And this was an awesome show. Shane, thank you very much for coming on, man.
No problem, guys.
Super appreciate it, man.
Yeah,
Keep
no
doing
problem, guys.
Down there, man. This is wicked.
We're trying, man. We're trying.
Yeah, right on, man.
All right, guys.
All right, you have a good night.
Yeah, have a good night.
Yeah, have a good night, guys. All right.